Hello and welcome into another episode of American Hammers Radio. I am your host, Tex, all the way on the west coast with the Fresno Irons, and I'm joined by somebody all the way back on the East Coast, the one, the only, he's calling himself He Hate Me tonight, Zach, the curly-headed legend. Zach, how are you tonight?
Well, I'm stuck in Miami, so I'm in hell.
Stuck in Miami. I did want to say your hair looks a little frizzier. Maybe that humidity's getting to it, even in this winter time.
Okay, hang on. Winter down here. It's still 75 degrees. I got off the plane today, and it was 75 degrees. I was in a sweatshirt, no problem, the whole way down, and literally land and start to get the Florida sun through the windows, and I'm just sweating. And why didn't I take it off from the walk all the way to baggage claim, get our bags to the rental car? I don't know, but I was sweating to death.
I'm just going to say you're stuck in Miami, and you said you're stuck in hell. There's a lot of people up north that would like to be where you're at. But one thing we all West Ham fans can relate to right now is we all feel like we're stuck in hell. This Pellegrini nightmare tends to continue, and it continued again on Saturday. It was 4:30 a.m. for us out here in California. I stayed up all night drinking the Kraken rum, trying to make sure that the night was enjoyable, felt good. It's Tottenham. We're going to get back on. Mourinho's in. And wouldn't you know it, West Ham came out and laid another egg. They gave up a cheap first goal to Son. That South Korean magician does it to us again. I cannot stand him. He makes me hate K-pop even more.
I like him as a person. I love the reaction he had when he won the Asian Games with South Korea, and they didn't have to do the military service. I thought that was beautiful. That to me defines what South Koreans are.
Well, I kind of wish he was in his military service right now, because maybe it would have been a different situation for West Ham United. But nonetheless, the next thing you know, we let the buck-tooth master himself or the gap-tooth master, either one is fine. Harry Kane gets on the score sheet. And
Lucas scored the second goal from Son.
Well, Harry Kane gets on the score sheet, makes it 3-0. And the next thing you know, you're looking at this situation, and West Ham are down 3-0, don't look like they have any opportunity to get back in the game. They bring on Antonio, and wouldn't you know it, Antonio gets one back. Then West Ham, they get another one back with Ogbonna. And then there was an offside goal that was given that never really looked like it was that close, honestly. But the truth is always going to be this. West Ham United were outplayed in that game. And granted, they made some plays late to get back in it. I don't think there was any Claret and Blue Army member that really believed that they were ever in that game. So West Ham United go down again 3-2. Jose Mourinho gets to start off his Tottenham managerial career with a win over West Ham, and we continue to stay in the bowels of our own dismay as we continue to watch this West Ham decline, and we don't honestly know where it's going to end. So right now, I'm going to ask you the first question that popped in my head. Is it Pellegrini or is it the injury to Fabianski? Because our goalkeeping situation is an atrocity.
It is an atrocity. And to bring up, you said that we were not in at any point in that game. I disagree. In the first half, Tottenham had 65% ball possession. They had 12 goal attempts and 4 shots on goal. In the second half, West Ham, led ball possession 59-41, had 9 goal attempts to 3, and 4 shots on goal to 2. So we were in that game late. Once Antonio got on the goal sheet, the whole dynamic of the game changed, and we started to push, and we started to make things work. And it's unfortunate that Rice's goal off the corner got called back. But it was still good to see that we could still do that. And then our Bonner's goal, that was just beautiful. But too bad it was in the 90th +6, because in the 90th +6 of 6 minutes of stoppage time, that doesn't do much for anyone.
Oh, I just watched that game, and I don't – the thing is about statistics, Zach, and I'm just going to tell you the truth. I can manipulate statistics to say whatever I need them to say. But I watched that game with my own 2 eyes, and at no point did I feel like we were a viable threat to win that game at any point. Roberto, that first goal that he lets in from Son, I'm sorry that has to be saved.
Every other
has to be saved.
Every other Premier League goalkeeper and backup goalkeeper will save that. The fact that Roberto did not shows that he needs to go. He needs to be benched. And come January 1, his ass needs to be out the door. We need to cut our losses and end it with him right now, or transfer him to some team in America. Because some team in America is probably like, ooh, a Champions League goalkeeper. Awesome. Also, that brings into question, is he fixing matches? And I'm not going to get into that. I will not speculate. But it's an option that I don't think anyone's talking about.
The real question I want to hear from you is it Pellegrini or is it Fabianski? What is the issue here? Is it Pellegrini's tactics or is it the fact that Lucas Fabianski is not out there? Like, I'm just really curious to hear what you think.
It's both. It's both the fact that Pellegrini is being a dinosaur and he will not change from being playing with one up front. And also it's Roberto and the fact that Roberto is god-awful. He is, I said last week, and I said on Bitchman, he is one of the worst goalkeepers I've ever seen. There are better goalkeepers. He's on par with NPSL goalkeepers, which is terrible. For a Premier League goalkeeper, you should not be that bad. And I hate to say it, I would dying to know his FIFA ratings come January as to how low they went. Because this is abysmal. And we're not doing anything. The fact that we are tactically looking so blah, it's sad. And Allaire said it best that he's frustrated with this, and he knows that we're frustrated, and we need to do something, but we need to do something about it, and it's not helping.
I am, down 2-0 at half. We come out in the second half. You expect to see a change. You see Antonio on the pitch, and 4 minutes into the second half, Harry Kane puts us down 3-0, which was incredibly frustrating. So I've got to ask, is it time? I know how you feel about Roberto, but is it time for Pellegrini to go? Should we have woken up Monday morning to the news that West Ham have sacked Manuel Pellegrini?
No, because Rome wasn't built in a day, and if it was built in a day, we would have used their contractors. I'll say that again. Rome was not built in a day. If it was, we would use their contractors. This is a long-term process. The fact that our number one goalkeeper goes down, and the fact that because Fabianski has saved 11 goals a game, goal from goal chances, which is insane. It's the top of the Premier League. But the fact that he is down hurts us because if we were to go back and watch any of the games that since he's gone down, the amount of goals that would have gone in with him was a lot less. We probably would have given up one, maybe 2 goals. Last weekend. Now we would have tied it. We would have tied it. If we tied it, this would be a whole separate podcast. But no, because of the fact that he's not in it, we're suffering. And this is not something you can pick on Pellegrini. The offensive woes are, but the defensive woes you can't. And that you need to put on the scouting director, and the scouting director should be fired.
I'm going to be honest with you, Zach. I think it's time for Pellegrini to go, and I think you could watch that game and understand why. Tactically, the team was not, I think, set up correctly to win, and then also they did not play motivated. They played flat, and maybe they found some ability to be motivated late and pull 2 back, but the reality of the situation is we were never really in the game. I'm going to point out a couple of things here. Every manager is judged by their ability to adjust. I think a lot of times what ends up happening is we get consumed with these managers that get onto these big clubs like a Jose Mourinho and get all this financial backing to bring in certain players. But I want to point something out with Pellegrini. He has been backed better than any other West Ham manager has ever been backed.
That is true.
That is 100% the truth. Now, we don't have Manchester United money, and I'm not claiming that we do. But because he has been back to this point, and he's gotten guys like Issa Diop, Felipe Anderson, Yarmolenko, these are a step above the normal West Ham player. They are good players. I'm not going to go out there and tell you they're great players because I think other than Yarmolenko, the rest of them tend to struggle to get into their national team. But the truth is going to be this. Look at the substitutions that Pellegrini made. This is, to me, where a manager makes his hay. It's your ability to make an in-game adjustment when things aren't going right. You have a plan B, is the way it's always referred to.
Yeah.
He takes off Issa Diop for Carlos Sanchez. What the fuck?
Exactly.
Carlos Sanchez has done absolutely nothing for West Ham United. He got injured right when we got him. So that substitution is legitimately pointless. Then he takes off Felipe Anderson for Mikel Antonio. Now look, Mikel Antonio is a great player, but why are you taking off Felipe, who is an incredibly dangerous player? At any moment, he's a creative, destructive force. Now, I think that he's been playing poorly because he's been trying to do too much. That's my personal opinion, and I'm going to hold that. Then he takes off Andre Yarmolenko. Yarmo, probably in all reality, you could make the argument he's been our hammer of the year, and he brings on Pablo Fornals. Pablo Fornals has looked lost ever since he's been out there. I like the guy, but he's been lost. He hasn't been able to fit into the tactical approach. He hasn't been able to fit in with the team. When he gets the ball at his feet and he makes a pass, it always tends to be wrong, or he seems to never be in the place that the team expects him to be. So those three substitutions, in my opinion, are so bafflingly bad that it tells me that he doesn't have any ideas anymore. He has no idea. He is literally throwing food at the wall, Zach, and seeing what sticks. And right now, nothing is sticking. Nothing is sticking on the wall. It is blind substitutions. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's the formation changes that he goes into. He's going into a formation change that I don't even know if we understood what the fuck formation was.
I get it.
So the point is going to be this. Should he go? Yes, he should be gone. And I think anybody that is an avid fan of watching soccer or football, for all the British listeners, you can see that there are fresh out of ideas. There's no ability there to play cohesive football. We look disjointed. Our back line cannot talk to our midfield, and our midfield cannot communicate with our front attacking force. They don't work well together. There is something clearly wrong.
So I found this on Facebook. I moderate. I'm an admin to a Facebook group called Irons-West Ham United Forum. It's a great group. Talk about a bunch of stuff about West Ham and whatnot. People from all over the world. By the way, I'm the American admin. There's an Australian admin, and everyone else is British. Anyways, this is something that Claire, who's the head poster, said. I found on Twitter. This is she didn't say who it was from, but after the game was finished on Saturday, a West Ham player quoted in a discreet one-on-one convo. He has to go. I love him, but he's lost the dressing room now. And players have just stopped listening. In all my time in football, I've never seen a team lacking such ambition to win games. End quote. This made me believe that with him saying this, Pellegrini must be going ASAP. After the meeting today, the board seemed like they are going to give him more time. I still don't know the full outcome yet, but if there is no points gained through Chelsea, Wolves, or Arsenal, he'll be out the door. Only positive I've come across is David Moyes will not be coming back to the club. And you know what? That's a great summary. I hate to say that's a great summary of the past couple of weeks. The fact that we've looked so goddamn lost. It's not even funny at this point. We just look disjointed, disgruntled, can't make moves. In the first couple of games, Anderson did a beautiful nutmeg, and Lair couldn't believe it. His hands were on his head. We were having fun. We were playing fun football. But now we're just lost. We're making bullshit passes. We're making terrible passes. Half the guys come in. They're not expecting the ball where they should be. They're not playing defense. We're not making saves. And if this continues, Pellegrini needs to go. But at the same time, Fabianski needs to come back because having Roberto is not helping anyone. I believe that if we had a competent goalkeeper in, this would be a different story. We probably would have won a game, probably tied 2 somewhere along the line, but we wouldn't be as distraught as we are now. But because we are as distraught as we are now, we really need to start to think about pulling the plug on him. And that may come – it may not happen next week. It may not happen 2 weeks from now. But it may happen by January. And if it happens in January, the ship is lost. And I hate to say that we should probably talk about bringing Sam Allardyce back to save our ass from relegation. I don't want to do that. I honestly, I don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I know that. Everyone else doesn't want to do that. But it's an option.
So you're jumping ahead on me just a touch, and the thing that I want to point out is I understand what you've read there and what you said, but we're past the point of no return. Like what's happening at West Ham United right now, there has to be changes. We need to get a manager in now so he can assess what he has before the January transfer window, so that when he goes and writes up his targets, the board needs to go. Because at this point, you got to do what you got to do to get rid of Pellegrini. You got to do what you got to do to get players in that are going to fight and claw. We need a Kevin Nolan out there. We need a guy who's going to punch somebody in the mouth. Mark Noble, yes, he can do that, but there needs to be another guy in there. We need guys that are going to fight, scratch, and claw to get out there. Like Robert Snodgrass is a guy that, for me, he's starting the rest of the year. No, as he's starting the rest of the year, you can start to build around him because he's been consistent. He was the one lone bright spot for me in that game. I felt like he was the only dangerous player we had on the field. Everybody else seemed to be lost, other than when Antonio came on. But the proof is in the pudding. Snodgrass and Antonio need to be two guys that this team needs to start be built around. Yeah. A guy like Felipe Anderson now needs to complement them. And that's what's going to end up happening. So if Pellegrini does go, my question is, you hinted at this already, is who do we bring in? You read the reports, you're looking at David Moyes as a name that's listed. Chris Hughton, former Bright manager, a name that listed. Eddie Howe from Bournemouth is listed. Sean Dyche from Burnley. And then obviously we've been longtime flirting partners with Rafa Benitez. His name is also in there. It seems from what I have read and following one of the trusted sources that I believe, that David Moyes and Chris Hughton are the two front runners. But I have to ask you this question. Who comes in that fixes West Ham United? You've already mentioned Sam Allardyce. Is that the guy that the Zach attack, the curly-headed legend would like to see?
No. I don't think anyone – I think everyone listening had a resounding no. I don't think – if there's a single person who wants Sam Allardyce back, please tweet me. I want to hear you. I want to hear why. But I have two names that are not being thrown around enough. I know I've seen Gerard in the betting pools. Coming from America, and I know this is going to sound extremely bizarre for everyone, but Gio Savarese, current manager of Portland, the Portland Timbers. He was the manager of the New York Cosmos. He led them to four New York NASL Soccer Bowl championships games, won 3 of them. Led them to the playoffs every year that he was there. Built a team literally to compete with Major League Soccer, to compete into the Open Cup. Had Raul, had Marco Senna, had Jimmy Maurer, current goalkeeper in Dallas. Had a bunch of guys that are now making a name for themselves in Major League Soccer because he knew the talent. He is the type of manager that you get animated for, that you want to play for. When it's 90 plus 3 and you have 4 minutes, it's 90 plus 3.5, and there's 4 minutes of stoppage time, and the ref blows the whistle. He is out there yelling and screaming at the ref, pointing at his watch on his wrist that doesn't exist, saying that we still have 30 seconds. Put this game back on. And he is literally Earl Weaver. He's Earl Weaver in soccer form, and that's what I want. We need someone that will rally a team and will literally light the fire under everyone's asses. And he can do that. He's the only manager that I know that will put in a defensive midfielder, take out an attacking midfield when he's down, and have him score a game-winning goal. What the fuck? But the other name is Marco Bielsa, El Loco. I know what he's doing at Leeds. I know everyone at Leeds loves him. He's a complete change of pace from Pellegrini. It's a complete tactical change, a complete madman. But we all know what he's capable of. We know that he can lead teams to championships. He can lead teams to glory. He can lead egos to glory. We saw that with Argentina. And if he can't lead us to glory, he can at least get us close to the top, which I think a lot of us will be thrilled by if he can get out of the bottom and close to the top. Honestly, those are people who I would like to bring in. But that's just me.
First off, Zach, I love you to death, but you clearly, without question, have lost your mind. If you think the Oakland Timbers manager coming in is going to solve anything. First off, I'm an American. I'm going to tell you the truth. The MLS is 3 steps behind the Premier League. So if that manager is what he is, he's going to have to go prove it somewhere else. And so, number one, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Let me counterpoint. The Major League Soccer and the United States Soccer Federation has always said that the NASL is below USL. Yet most of the time, the NASL teams would beat the USL teams of the US Open Cup. And some NASL teams beat MLS teams. And they had better players. And when the New York Cosmos went from NASL to NPSL, the whole team got gutted for the most part. And most of them went on to play in Major League Soccer and to prove to everyone that we knew what the hell that we were doing. And the fact that we built an MLS quality team and the Federation didn't do shit. So,
is the humidity getting to your brain? Like, is the humidity getting in there? Because I'm going to tell you the truth. You're talking about high school JV coaches going up against high school varsity coaches, and we're talking about professional Premier League. That's how far back it is. So I don't care how good the guy may have done. I don't care what talent he may have fostered. When you get into the Premier League, that's big boy time. And I don't think that there's anybody in there. Now, I do like your suggestion of the manager of Leeds, because Leeds have risen. That's a solid choice. But of the names that are circulating the most, the ones that are the most likely, we have Moyes, Houghton, Howe, Dyche, and Benitez. So let's break this down. I'm going to make it simple for you. We know David Moyes. He doesn't need to be coming in. We don't. If he comes in, that's going to shake my West Ham fandom. Chris Houghton, he had one pretty good year in the Premier League. Well, not good. Let's say they weren't relegated when he was at Brighton. I like Chris Houghton, but I think everybody realized that he is going to be out-coached every week against these Premier League managers, because Chris Houghton does well at the lower levels, but when he gets up against these tactical geniuses of the Premier League, he's not going to do it. Rafa Benitez, I'm going to tell you the truth. He's nothing but a fat Spanish waiter. Right? He's a fat Spanish waiter. I've never been a fan of Rafa Benitez. I don't like the style of football he plays. I think West Ham fans are fucking loco if they think that he's going to come in and solve anything. Let me tell you how Rafa Benitez wins. He wins when people spend money. We already know that we have penny-pinching owners. Yes, they have backed Manuel Pellegrini like no manager at West Ham has ever been backed. But Rafa Benitez is not the answer. He's a name. The two names that stick out to me are Eddie Howe and Sean Dyche. And Eddie Howe is the guy. Nobody's done more with less in the Premier League than Eddie Howe. Bournemouth are a consistent team, and they have fostered talent. They don't go out and spend big because they can't spend big. You give Eddie Howe a little bit of money, I guarantee you he's going to go buy a guy that everybody views as a mid-level player, and he's going to come into your side, and he's going to kick some serious ass. Eddie Howe is one of the best talent evaluators I've ever seen. And the same goes for Sean Dyche. Dyche, man, let's just smoke some cigarettes and talk about life. Dyche is an incredible manager. I would prefer Eddie Howe, but either one of those guys coming in, I'm going to tell you right now, they demand respect because they don't put up with any type of egos. We're going to get guys on this team that are West Ham guys. That means we're going to get players like Robert Snodgrass up and down the pitch, from our goalkeeper to our striker, that are going to have the same mentality as a West Ham fan would want. And what bothers my soul, Zach, is that you're hearing Moyes and Houghton as the leaders. They're nothing but a stopgap. If Eddie Howe or Sean Dyche want that position at West Ham United, you give it to them, and you pay them more money than they actually want, because those guys are guys that can come in and change the culture. That's the key word I want everybody to understand. We have to change the culture. The culture at West Ham United is toxic right now. It's not just toxic for the players either. It's toxic for the fans. This is an indictment on all the supporters, because I'm sick of looking up and down Twitter. I'm sick of seeing it. There's no positivity. There's no power of positivity here. We have to change the key word here, Zach, culture. And the two guys that have been circulating that I believe absolutely can change the culture are Eddie Howe and Sean Dyche. And I believe that they should be in that order. You can get Howe, you take him. Dyche should be your number two, because they're inexpensive managers. They're not going to be too expensive to get them from where they currently are, and you can make massive inroads with them once they get on your team. And if you're going to do it, Zach, you need to do it now. It needs to be done before the January transfer window, so the manager can go get the guys that are going to put the stamp on this team as he leads them forward.
Actually, I'm going to make a bold statement. If we're going to fire Pellegrini, it's going to be before Boxing Day.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think if we're going to get into this in a little bit, but I think if this Chelsea game goes sour, I think it could be very, very soon.
I don't think we get Chelsea. Chelsea's too good of an opponent. We need to give them a low-level opponent to be able to that we should beat.
Zach,
beat them, we're gone.
Zach, I love you to death, but I'm going to read to you these low-level opponents that we have just faced, and this is my problem. Okay, we lost to Newcastle 3-2 back in November, then lost to Burnley 3-0. Then lost to Tottenham. Burnley and Newcastle, those are winnable games. Sheffield United was a draw. Crystal Palace, another low-level opponent. We're going all the way back to September now. Okay, we drew with Bournemouth. We've had low-level opponents. He's had his opportunity. I'm at a point right now. Like Zach, you sound like a guy who's like dating a girl, and she's cheated on you multiple times. You're like, well, I can't break up with her. Valentine's Day's around the corner. And I'm like, Zach, why? And you're like, well, I left my CDs in her car. I can't just walk away from like 25 CDs. The point is that we're done. We need to be done with him. We need to move on. The Manuel Pellegrini experiment, we tried it. We gave it, two basic years with him, and it hasn't really worked.
Southampton's the 14th. That is the last game before Boxing Day. If we cannot pick up that win, I think he's gone. I'm giving him that.
I think it needs to do that. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are we going to get relegated? Will West Ham United be relegated?
No. Once Tabiasi comes back, I completely expect to see the old side that we saw in August and September come in, and we're going to be happy again. We're going to be playing fun football. Anderson's going to be doing magic things that we saw. We know that he's capable of, but he hasn't been able to show it. And we're going to be able to – we're going to have fun football. If we all stay healthy, we're going to have fun football again, which would sounds amazing to all of us right now.
Unless drastic changes at the club happen, Zach, we will be relegated. And I'm telling you that now. We're currently sitting in 17th place right now, and it's a bad situation. It's a very, very bad situation. We only have 13 points through 13 games. And we're only above the likes of Norwich, Southampton, and Watford. And we know Southampton aren't going to do much more the rest of the way, but Norwich have the ability to score goals, and Watford have the ability to score goals. So I'm not feeling too confident unless drastic changes happen.
Yes, but we're only 3 points out of 11th. So, I mean.
So looking forward now, we have Chelsea on Saturday at the Bridge, now coached by our former player who we screwed over, who is going to have it in for us no matter what. Yep. Frank Lampard is not going to want to lose his first managerial experience to West Ham United, especially at home. So this game, we have our work cut out. So I have to ask you straight up, just right off the top, do you have any hope for West Ham United in this game?
I think we're going to score at least one goal. But other than that, no. We're at the Bridge. We don't do well there. When was the last time we actually won? 2017, 1-0. Big whoa.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't have any hope. My hope is now shot. I am the eternal pessimist now. I will be looking at everything as a glass half empty kind of guy until we make some changes. So, no, I don't think any West Ham fan should have hope. I think we should all prepare ourselves to get really drunk and find a way to cope with this loss. What is a realistic expectation for you in this match?
That we show up and we leave with everyone accounted for. That's literally the only expectation that I have, that no one dies or no one goes to the hospital.
For the first time on this show today, I agree with you. If we come out clean with no injuries, it's a successful trip to the Bridge. Because outside of that, I think we need to expect, we're going to ship 3 or 4 goals. If we make a change to David Martin, maybe it's only 2 or 3. But David Martin's an older keeper. It's not like I think he's going to improve that much. Maybe other than just decision making, it's going to be a tough track for anybody in between the pipes with the leakiness of our defense. It's too easy. I'm not making excuses for Roberto, but I feel like we're Swiss cheese back there.
Yes, we are.
They find too many holes. We let too many balls go through with guys on side. We're not playing the offsides trap well, which is Pellegrini's signature defensive strategy, and that's not going well, which is yet another reason that we need to let him go because what he likes to do, we are not capable of.
No.
So if we lose this game to Chelsea, and I know you've already hinted at it, but I'm going to ask you one more time for good measure. If we go down to Chelsea, will we wake up Monday morning with an ESPN, a One Football update on our phone that say Pellegrini has been sacked by West Ham United?
No, I think we're going to get an update saying that he's on very thin ice from the board, and he's getting told him that he's on very thin ice. But that, other than that, warning shot, that's literally all I expect. The warning shot from the board, not the, let's say, the ship shot. Because I truly believe that the board believes in his plan, and he's not going to be able to implement said plan because of the injuries to Fabianski. And that's been the key driving point. But if we wake up on Monday and find that our scouting director's been fired, I would not be shocked. I would applaud that because that was needed. That was needed like earlier in the month.
I'm going to tell you now. I think West Ham United need to clean house. You need to buy into a manager. Let him just dictate how things go. And I think if we lose to Chelsea, and unless it's a game where we give up a late goal and lose to Chelsea, like a 2-1 and they score an extra time or something like that, I don't see any way he stays, especially with the form we've been in. I think he's gone. So that being said, it's now time for what is now turned into the most disappointing part of the show. It's time for our score predictions for Chelsea v. West Ham at the Stanford Bridge this Saturday, 10 a.m. for you out there on the East Coast, 7 a.m. for me out here on the West Coast. What is your final in this game?
I think it's going to be 3-1 then. I think the one goal we're going to get is from Antonio. I think Antonio is going to be the man of the match. I'm jumping ahead here, I know. But I think Antonio is going to be the best goddamn West Ham player that we have out there. And because he's exciting to be back, and I'm dying to see the partnership between Antonio and Yarmolenko. I'm dying to see that. I really hope that this can work out, especially with Lanzini going down for as long as he's going to be out.
I don't think the players want to play for Pellegrini anymore. I think they see the writing on the wall, and I think they know better than the fans do because it's an ugly situation. And for the first time this year, I'm picking the most disgusting score line ever. I'm going 4-0 Chelsea. I'm going to give Chelsea 4 goals. I just don't see any way, especially with Issa Diop. I'm pretty sure he's out because of that horrendous yellow card he got that was not a foul against Harry Kane. So with him out, that means Balbuena's going to be playing unless they decide to go with Winston Reed, which doesn't look like they're going to. So I think it's going to be 4-0, and I think we're going to go down. Who's my man of the match? Well, I'm sticking with the Scottish general himself. I'm going with Robert Snodgrass. I think Snoddy is just he's got too much heart. He's too good for West Ham right now, to be honest with you. We don't deserve a player like that, and he's too good for us, especially all the bullshit that the fans put him through and the board. And I'm not going to sit there and abstain myself, including myself, that we're questioning why we thought he was going to replace Dimitri Payet. But he's now – the cream always rises to the top, Zach, and he is clearly the cream on this team. So that brings us into the yellow and red cards. Do you have a yellow card, Zach?
Yeah, the yellow card goes to me. So on Friday night, I went to something called Emo Night in D.C. Emo Night's what you think it is. It's a bunch of people dressed in emo shirts like FCR, Green Day, whatnot. We all went out at started at 10 o'clock at night, went to 3 in the morning. Me and the friends that I was with, we left at 2 in the morning. I got home by 3 in the morning. I fell asleep right there on the couch. I recorded the game, but I fell asleep on the couch, and I didn't wake up till 10. I looked at my watch. I was like, shit, I missed the game. Thankfully, I had it recorded, but I already saw the scoreline. I'm like, why can't we just win? Why do we have to play so goddamn bad? Why do we have to play so goddamn early? Honestly, it's not like it's Celtic Rangers that needs to be at 12:30. Why do we have to play these games so early? Bugs me.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't have a yellow card because I'm giving away 2 red ones. So I'm going to go ahead and give away my first red card, and then we'll go to you, and then I'll give my second. My first red card goes to Pellegrini. You're done. You're out. I'm giving you the red card. You clearly got it wrong. I am on the Pellegrini out train. Not only am I on the train, I've sold all my possessions. I've sold out. I'm kind of like a follower of Gandhi now. I'm just going to follow this train until something happens. I may get out into the salt fields and pick my own salt just because I know it's wrong, just because I want Pellegrini fucking gone. Because the man is clearly lost. I phenomenal manager, but his time has passed. Who's your red card for?
So my red card goes to American Airlines. So I flew down to Miami today to be with my brother who's at UM Law for Thanksgiving. And so we got a 11 a.m. what was supposed to be an 11 a.m. flight. We get to the gate, we board, we push back. All of a sudden, the fail-safe to the backup has gone off. We need to return to the gate and get it checked. So they they pulled it out and plugged it back in again. Then it worked. And then because Trump is at BB&T tonight, so he was flying into Fort Lauderdale. So we had to go back and get more fuel because of the fact that he was flying into Fort Lauderdale. So we had to taxi in again. We had to go back to the gate, get more fuel. And this whole ordeal was like 2 extra hours. So we were on the plane for 5 total hours today. And it was exhausting. By the time we landed, I turned to my parents and I said, I need a goddamn drink. Because that was horrendous.
Well, my second my second red card, Zach, goes to myself. I thought it would be fun. We're playing Tottenham. I bought a bottle of the Kraken rum. I drank the whole thing. I paid for it the rest of the day. It was not fun.
No.
And, I think the way I felt embodies the way West Ham United plays soccer. It makes everybody want to puke, and including myself. It was not easy. So I'm giving myself the red card, and the good thing is I've appealed it, so hopefully I can show up to the next Fresno Irons match. That's the goal. So we'll see how that comes down.
Future reference: Devontae Smith-Pelly, formerly of the Washington Capitals. The whole Capitals, when they went on their 2018 Championship Cup bender, what did everyone drink when they were hungover? Pedialyte. Pedialyte works, people. If you go to CVS, there's actually an adult version of Pedialyte that they make. Put it in the refrigerator, but drink some before you go to bed. Go to bed. If you wake up thirsty, drink some more. It's a lot better than water. It's a lot better than Gatorade. And your mind, mentally, you don't feel the effects. Physically, you still do, but mentally, you don't. So that's if you want to take anything from the 2018 Capitals, take that.
And that brings us to everybody's favorite part of the show. Clearly, I know it's Zach's favorite part of the show. It's time for shameless plugs. Zach, hit us. What you got?
Okay, so first, we have merch. We have American Hammers Radio merch. You can get T-shirts, hats, blankets. I almost forgot what a blanket was. Stickers. Get a sticker for your car. Get a sticker for your mom. Get a sticker for your laptop. Get a sticker for your phone. Get a sticker for your external battery pack. Get a sticker for your grandpa. I don't know. Get a sticker for somebody. Get a sticker for your 2-year-old because he likes stickers. Yeah, that's what every 2-year-old needs. But get a sticker. Get us some merch. Rep us. Show your support for American Hammers Radio wherever you go. But Christmas time is literally almost here. The Cyber Monday is 6 days away. 5? It's a few days away. Follow Zach Strong Show on Instagram. Go buy my stuff. I have a bunch of stuff. I have mostly sports stuff to sell. But if you're looking for that one special sports thing for that one special person, contact me. I can work with you. If I don't have it, I know people that may have it. So let's try to make this Christmas perfect for everyone.
The only shameless plug I have, Zach, is the one that I'm going to tell you is that this Saturday, the Fresno Irons are on an away day. We're going to go invade the Chelsea bar. So we're going to go sing our asses off, tell them to stick that blue flag up their ass. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you find yourself in Fresno, California, and you're like, I need my West Ham fix. This Saturday at 7 a.m., we will be at the Hook and Ladder Clovis to watch West Ham United take on the mighty Chelsea Blues at Stanford Bridge with West Ham's own Frank Lampard leading the way. I will never admit that he's a Chelsea player. He will always forever be a West Ham player to me, even though we all are fully aware of how we treated him, and we have to own that. So
what the hell's a Clovis?
Clovis is the neighboring city to Fresno, California. It's literally a block away. So Clovis doesn't exist without Fresno.
So it's kind of like Minneapolis, St. Paul. Oh, St. Paul, that's right. That's literally right there.
Yes. So saying all that, thank you again for listening. Thank you to Tim and Lee for providing us the platform to be on here and provide this podcast for you. And as always, for Zach, I am Tex. Come on, you on.